So if you're in a moment, if you're in a season, if you're in time of just struggling and you're feeling kind of the burdens of this world, let's go back and remember who God is. Hey Grace family, and welcome back to our midweek check-in. So last week we were still within our series of transformational living, and we looked at the theme of wisdom. And we're in the book of James, and we dissected two different types of wisdom that he talks about in James chapter 3. And we looked at worldly wisdom versus godly wisdom. And so we walked away with our big idea of asking for and living within godly wisdom leads to transformational living. And so this week I wanted to kind of talk about that a little bit more with the whole idea that wisdom is knowledge applied, that it's knowledge of who God is and what He's done applied to who we are and what we do. And so I just wanted to expand on that a little bit. We're going to read a verse, and I've got a quick quote on that. But Timothy Keller talks about wisdom, and he connects it directly to trust. And he says this, he says, if you trust God, then as time goes on, both your good times and your bad times will turn you into the kind of person whose plans and decisions are more and more wise. So kind of just tying that back into last week and this whole idea of godly wisdom, it's got to be something that we both ask for and live within, but is definitely available to us. But he ties it directly to that whole idea of trust. And there's just that recognizing it's knowledge applied, knowledge of who God is and what He's done. And there's got to be a trust in that I know who God is, I'm growing in knowing in who God is, and I'm applying what He has done and who He is to who I am and what I do. And so kind of with all those things in mind and that whole idea of trust looped in there, I wanted to read Psalm chapter 9, verses 9 and 10. It says, the Lord is a stronghold for the oppressed, a stronghold in times of trouble, and those who know your name put their trust in you. For you, O Lord, have not forsaken those who seek you. I just wanted to kind of encourage you this week. I know there's a lot of you going through a lot of things. There are a lot of hardships. There's a lot of just brokenness that we feel day in and day out in this world. And so when we're talking about living within godly wisdom, it's kind of hard to apply that when things just are really frustrating, or we're in pain, or we're just wondering why this is happening. But that's why it's so important, I think, to tie it to trust. And what this verse 10 says, those who know your name put their trust in you. So sometimes it's just as simple as remembering who God is, those who know Him, those who know His name. So if you're in a moment, if you're in a season, if you're in time of just struggling and you're feeling kind of the burdens of this world, let's go back and remember who God is. That's really where it all starts with. And we can read through His Word and get descriptions of how great He is. And then when we know who He is and what He's done, we can then apply that, and there's that wisdom. We can apply that to who we are and what we do. So I just want to encourage you this week, if you're having a hard time, put your trust in Him. Remind yourself of who He is, and then you'll have that opportunity to apply that wisdom to whatever situation, whatever circumstance you are going through. So looking ahead at this next Sunday, we've got Brian Forrester is going to be preaching. We're going to be sharing the Lord's Supper, and he's going to be preaching out of John chapter 21, verses 15 through 17. So if you want to read that ahead of time and get ready for that, and then we'll look forward to coming alongside you this Sunday and worshiping our Father together and learning more alongside one another. Thank you so much, church. Have a great week, and we'll see you Sunday morning at 9 a.m.